Hello, my name is Catherine Rutland and I am Clinical Director at Denplan and Simply Health. Very lovely to be talking to you again in 2021. We got here, we survived 2020. There may have been times when we weren't sure whether we would for lots of different reasons, but we are here and it's very great to be talking to you again. Just wanted to reflect a little bit on last year and what happened, and also to think forward about 2021 and where we are working towards, thinking about, and just a few thoughts on those. For me, I think many of you who know me, and I have mentioned it before, is I am a big reflector. It's very much part of me, can drive people mad at times because I have to reflect before I do a lot of things. But it is who I am. And of course, after a year like this, there was no question that I was not going to be reflecting. I very often, in fact, almost always work the week in between Christmas and New Year. I really enjoy it. It's always very, very quiet, and I find it a fantastic opportunity to catch up on everything, to actually read some of the stuff and the attachments that I've been sent maybe weeks before and haven't had a chance to really catch up on properly, and it always puts me in good stead for the start of the next year. So I think this year, thinking back on so much that has happened, and really thinking about the positive side of things, as well as obviously the things that we have missed out on and that we have, lost in our professional and personal lives, and that needs to be acknowledged. But I think looking forward and thinking about the positives is also important. For me, I actually find writing things down really useful. I had my end of year review with my boss just in the last few days prior to Christmas, and having to write down what my team and myself had achieved through the year was so positive, just really positive to realise that yes, there's been trials and tribulations, yes, it's been very difficult, but actually we have still managed to achieve a lot in a huge period of time. I think for me, one of the greatest things about this year has been being able to work from home. It's been a big shift for me, going from spending nights away around the country every week. That's very normally, in a normal year, it's very, very normal for me. And I think actually the time to be at home and to just enjoy being at home and enjoy what that brings with it, and the extra time has been a joy. I think on top of that, I just, to have my daughter come home halfway through. She'd been in South Korea through the year for her third year abroad for university. To have her come home in July obviously was massive, and a massive positive to me. And then having lost my previous two dogs several years ago, to replace them with a crazy puppy in July, again, has been one of the absolute highlights, I think, from my year, and obviously continues to be. But I think, as I say, professionally, I think as well, I've spoken to a lot of dentists who have found that having the time to reflect when things were closed down, to think and relook at things, and actually slightly slower pace of practice now, with now that things have settled a little bit, has also been a massively positive thing. And I think if you are feeling a little bit of, well, that was a dud year, write it down. Just, get a piece of paper out and write what's good, and you probably be gobsmacked at how much positivity there has been. On that note as well, we held our virtual forums that I know many of you attended at the end of the year, and that was obviously a very different experience to our usual forums where we are travelling around the country and getting to see people in person, and really missed seeing people, but very, very grateful for feedback. One of the things actually that came from that was, and I won't name them obviously for confidentiality reasons, but we had some feedback around podcasts, and then having then reached out to that person to ask for more detail, very grateful to have some really good thoughts around what sort of podcasts people like. It's been something that for many of us we maybe haven't used particularly before all of this happened, and actually people are finding that it's quite a good, easy way to listen, to catch up. So I'd be really grateful for any feedback that you have. We're planning for next year then start mixing it up, for me to try and do some interviews with people to cover topics that you possibly are interested in. So please do let me know, and we will build that in. It's important. It's, as I say, it's a new thing for us to do, and we are very, very happy to change and shift and bring into it what would be useful. I think going forward for next year, we all know that things feel as if they'll be slightly easier. The vaccines, but both 2 vaccines now. That's massive, and is a massive amount of positivity. But realistically, we all know that economically, the country has been battered. For many people outside of our industry, and even within our industry, they have lost their jobs. They are worried about the potential for what will happen with their jobs. And you will have team members who, even if your practice is safe and everything is okay, may be worried about partners and partners' long-term jobs and so on. So I think there is going to be a lot of that realism of the long-term impacts of it, and also the long-term impacts on care, both within dentistry itself for those who haven't been able to attend, but also in all forms of healthcare for delayed diagnoses or delayed treatment, and we're going to start to see the impact of that into next year. So into this year, sorry. So we are really going to have to continue to be resilient and continue to be supportive of our teams and for those around us, for everybody around us. It will, as I've said before, the whole situation has told on people in different ways at different times, and people that have seemed fine have suddenly found things difficult. I know, for myself, although most of the time I've been pretty good, there have been times when I really just don't, that getting yourself out of bed and that next day is really tough. And, not being able to plan, and holidays are taken away, all sorts of things. And we're still kind of in that situation. So we need to find ways to be positive. We need to continue to find ways to support each other, massively important. And as I say, for me, anything that you feel that we can do as a company that would be positive, please feed into us, and we will do what we can. So I'm not going to prattle on much more. As I say, I just feel that it's important for us to acknowledge the positive, and go into 2021 knowing the challenge, but knowing that if we can make positive out of last year, we can certainly do it for this year. So I wish you well. Please feedback. We will start doing the podcast again much more regularly. I know I did them very regularly when we were right in the depths of closure and so on, and they've been a bit sporadic. So we are going to find ways of making sure that we do them much more regularly. So thank you very much for listening. I do wish you a very happy new year, and I look forward to speaking to you again soon. Bye.